you, Negi Saab, and thank you, Resonance, for giving me an opportunity to be here this morning. I'm standing before stalwarts and people sitting here who are much more knowledgeable than me as far as asset integrity management is concerned. But let me try to give you my perspective on all these things. First of all, all the petroleum and gas pipeline companies, they have a very robust asset integrity management system in place. And from the day we join as a graduate trainee, people are taught that safety is one of the prime drivers of the success of any organization. So even in spite of that, we see so many incidences happening, across the system and across pipelines. Now, even beyond this, we now have a regulator, we have T4S standards, we have other OISD standards, and we have ASME and, all international bodies and standards that we normally follow. With all these things in place, the asset management should be such that the incidences get minimized or just do not happen. Beyond this, companies have a continuous monitoring system. They have a defined frequency of monitoring the integrity, the health, and they have established systems in place. Third-party audits are also done beyond your own internal audits that are happening. Periodic risk assessment, etc., is also done by all these companies. And if there are any failures or if there are any incidences that happen, whether minor or major, the causes are determined, and then people try to work on it to ensure that in future at least these kind of things don't get repeated. Beyond this, then, as I said, lots of training and other expertise is developed within the organizations. But even in spite of all this, at least for pipelines, I can say the biggest threat that comes to pipelines is from third-party damages. And some statistics which I was looking at suggest that about 50% of compromise on asset integrity actually happens through unrelated entities or third parties or people either not aware that a pipeline system is there and they damage the pipeline. Beyond this, of course, corrosion is there and other factors also there for asset to be compromised. But then, as industry veterans, we must see how going forward, if not prevent, let's try and take whatever measures are there to ensure that such kind of incidences are minimized. Now, incidentally, during this particular year, I have seen for trunk gas and LPG pipelines, there have been 3 or 4 incidences which have happened. One was this year we were fortunate, or whatever we want to say, the monsoon was pretty good and so much of rains which resulted in all our rivers having flows in excess of 2 or 3 times the volume that they normally handle, and the velocity of flow and the pressure of flow of water resulted in compromising the pipelines which were passing through these rivers using the HDD method or whichever manner they were laid. Now, some of these pipelines actually got compromised, and one was, I think, near Bagpat here in Delhi, which led to rupture of the gas pipeline going towards North India and also Delhi. I think, Gudev Singh ji, your organization also suffered because of this. So there was a disruption. Now, our primary aim using petroleum and product pipelines as well as gas pipelines is to ensure reliability of supply. Now with these kind of incidences, the reliability gets a question mark, and therefore that question mark needs to be erased. Now what I think they did was, since they had 3 or 4 city gas stations, they used some other location and a diversion of gas from Chensa Jajjar, Sultanpur se diversion of gas, and then using another network to actually feed their own customers. So one lesson that we learn out of all this is that all these kind of systems need redundancy, whether they be trunk pipelines or whether they be distribution networks. And fortunately, there was a redundant pipeline of Gail, which I am told was not utilized for years. And people discovered that line very handy. But had that line not been there, some customers, industrial as well as domestic and commercial customers, would have suffered in Delhi. And even when they diverted the gas, the pressure and the flow would not have been adequate enough to meet the 100% requirement, as if the pipeline that got ruptured was running normally. So therefore, we need to look at the blueprint again of all these systems to ensure that redundancy is there, safety systems are in place, and to ensure when such an eventuality happens, how to address it in the rightful manner. Of course, some Gail, IGL and other entities, they got together to figure out how to, resolve it to the extent possible. The other incident that happened was, I think, the Ramganga crossing for gas which was going to Uttarakhand. And there, I'm not too sure, sir, आपके वहाँ gas बरेली से ली फिर आपने. So these kind of contingency measures are, need to be well thought out beforehand, so that, when these kind of incidences happen, we are well prepared for these kind of things. One of the recent incidences that I just came across was, a third-party damage to a gas pipeline of Gail in the premises of RCF Trombay in Mumbai. Now in RCF Trombay, I mean, normally in an enclosed environment where an industrial unit is there with all the kind of safety measures being in place and with no external threats normally being there, you expect that these kind of third-party damages will not happen. But a line which was going through the premises of RCF Trombay to MGL Wadala, MGL City Gate Station Wadala, that was damaged by a contractor working on some site there. And that is when you had all those signages and you had at least visually one was aware that there is a pipeline going across the land where the third-party contractor was working. Now, as a result, MGL's City Gate Station could not get the gas, and this happened on November, I think 17th or 16th. November 16th was a Sunday. It happened on a Sunday, and then as a result, the entire gas supply to South Mumbai got disrupted, at least from that Wadala City Gate Station. Now MGL, I know, has got 5 City Gate stations, and why we created those 5 stations was exactly to take care of these kind of eventualities, that just in case there is a disruption of supply from one City Gate station to the Mumbai metropolitan area, the other 4 will work and supply gas through the network and allow uninterrupted supply of PNG and CNG in the city. But since Wadala was probably the largest City Gate station, the maximum flow was from there, and especially for South Mumbai, that was the nearest city gate station. Even in spite of the other 4 city gate stations being used for supply of gas, at the tail end in Kolaba and South Mumbai, the pressure was so low that all the city CNG stations just didn't work. So out of some 385 stations that they have, or maybe 400 now, while almost 300 were working, but some of them had so low pressure that there were queues of half a kilometer more of taxis and autos, and that is what brings the public notice of these kind of incidences. Although no house, the supply to any of the houses was not disrupted at all. They ensured through alternate mechanisms and alternate routes that the supply will continue, and at least for cooking and heating, the households will continue to get supply. But because the autos were standing in front of those stations with low pressure, or some of those stations were not even working, and the taxis, people coming out of the metro or coming out of the local trains could not get the last mile transportation to their office or their house. And it was a hue and cry, at least on Monday 17th and to some extent on 18th of November. So, third party unknowingly or knowingly damages a system that leads to these kind of cascading effects and a public outcry. Even if you have nothing to do with that incident, yet the outcome of that is that the public suffers, the image of the organization suffers, and people start questioning how good CNG is or how good gas is. So, these are some lessons that are there before us to see how these kind of incidences either don't happen or get minimized to the maximum extent. As I said, third-party damages, almost 50% of all the compromises that happen on pipeline systems are because of third parties. And statistics show that lesser diameter pipelines are more prone to damage. These are statistics which are coming out. Weekdays, people are more conscious. There is foot patrolling. There are so many other things that are ongoing, and people are more aware that the integrity of the system is ensured. But on a holiday or off days, there can be compromises, or the awareness or the oversight or the vigil may still not be there. More proactiveness, I guess, is required to ensure these kind of systems work flawlessly, and the reliability for which pipeline systems are famous for, should I say, that confidence remains amongst people and those who operate them. I think I'll stop here, and thank you very much once again for giving me an opportunity.